I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. And we welcome Velellas to the interview show. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Vel.
I appreciate you coming in. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Vel, or Velellas. I'm an angel jellyfish VTuber. And yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. How long have you been a VTuber at this point?
So I started at the start of February, actually. So it's really only been a couple of months. But yeah, I've really loved meeting new people and going on this journey, and I feel like I'm slowly improving and learning, and yeah, I'm very happy with how far I've come.
Yeah, you've gotten quite a long way, right, from February. I mean, are you comfortable with it now, or did it take a little while for you?
Well, I actually started VTubing as a way to kind of overcome my social anxiety, because I've struggled a lot with things like being, oh my God, I'm so sorry, there are like birds in the background.
Yeah.
Let me close my window real quick, sorry.
We're doing this at very different time zones, folks.
I'm sorry about that.
Different time zones and different seasons, actually.
I started this as a way to kind of overcome that social anxiety, because I'm very soft-spoken and kind of scared in person. But I wanted a way to kind of channel my creativity. And I've never really been too great at art or anything like that, but I thought that maybe I had something to share in this form.
Well, that's cool.
So I feel like a lot more comfortable nowadays.
Yeah, it sounds like it was kind of waiting for you.
Yeah.
So how did you discover the VTubers?
Well, I've always kind of really wanted to be a content creator. I have like really embarrassing YouTube channels out there still from when I was like 9 years old or something.
Oh, boy.
Where I would just randomly like I remember when challenges like the ice bucket challenge, the cinnamon on a spoon challenge, the mannequin challenge, that was a huge thing.
Oh.
I started a little YouTube channel and I thought that I was like famous, but I was not. I had like 15 subscribers, which were me on different accounts. But I've always kind of wanted that. As for VTubers, honestly, I've never really been too confident with myself as a person. I think I've always been super self-conscious about everything I do, like down to like my facial expressions, like where I put my hands, stuff like that.
Right.
So I could never really imagine myself being a content creator that would be okay with like streaming for 3 hours just like with my face, because I would just be way too anxious the entire time. Like that would terrify me. But I think with VTubing, I've always loved pretty things. So like being able to be like a pretty cute like anime girl is so much better than like having to worry about everything else. So
I've interviewed some folks who have kind of used this as a way to kind of overcome shyness or being kind of a wallflower and that type of thing, but always kind of had that seed down inside of, boy, if I could just show them what I got. Was that you when you were younger? Like, oh, if I could just show them what I really got.
Yeah, I think I've never really stood out, and if I did, it was always because I felt like the weird kid. Like, like I actually moved countries like a few years back, and because I always I grew up in a Spanish-speaking country, but my parents always spoke to me in English, and then I moved here, and because I was very like accustomed to the culture there, it's like, regardless of where I've been, I've always been a bit opposite to what the general kind of culture is. So I think because of that, I feel like I've never really been able to sorry, showcase my personality in like a light that I dictate. It's more so like all of my characteristics that are kind of applied to me by other people. So
yeah,
it's been a good medium.
yeah. Well, it's I kind of hearken it at times to like here in the U.S. going from high school to college, where everybody knew you in high school and had a maybe known you for your entire life, but now going into college, you kind of get to reestablish yourself, and you set the playing rules, the playing field as to who you want to be. Did you kind of see that as an opportunity when you started?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's difficult for me to necessarily be able to be too assertive in person. Like I definitely struggle a lot with ever kind of like setting boundaries or even just trying to lead a topic of conversation, because I always feel like I kind of need to back off when other people are speaking. But online, it's like I've definitely got the confidence to kind of put out the message that I want to put out, and it's gotten me comfortable with talking with a lot of different kinds of people, and like being able to connect without necessarily feeling like I'm just kind of being compliant and stuff. Like I've really enjoyed that, and it's helped me in real life interactions as well to kind of gain a little bit more confidence.
A little bit more assertive in real life now.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because I gotta tell you this right now. You have a really good voice for this.
Oh, thank you.
And it would be a shame for us not to hear it in this medium. I'll tell you that. And the fact that you haven't stopped smiling since you started the interview says a lot too. Because I can hear that for sure. But it really does sound like that you found an area where you've been able to enjoy not only being around folks, but being kind of the center of attention too, a little bit, for once.
Yeah. I think with in terms of being the center of attention, I don't want to delve too far into my childhood, but I think I definitely always felt a bit of jealousy or like envy towards like only children or kids whose parents were always around. So I think because of that, I mean, I've been really open about this on stream and on my Twitter and stuff. I do have BPD, so borderline personality disorder. And that's something that has greatly affected the way that I feel other people perceive me. So as a result, it's really difficult, I guess, for me to be able to feel affection in a healthy way, and I think that this is a way that's really helped me like maybe see myself in a more positive light, because people are so kind to me, they're so supportive, they're so encouraging, and it's really been a way to overcome a lot of things, I guess, that I saw negatively about myself. But it's nice. I'm really happy I found this.
Well, that's great. That's great that it's been able to kind of be, for lack of a better word, therapeutic for you, and hopefully it continues to help you in the life away from the internet as well, and we get to see more of that personality come through. Was it tough for you at first when you started realizing that people were coming back to your channel to be with you, and like the reason isn't the game you're playing or who, one thing or another, they're coming back because of your personality and you were entertaining them?
Yeah, I think I was very lucky because one of my first projects when I started, I think I maybe had like 20, 30 followers, and I was like, guys, I want to do a 10-hour stream for Valentine's Day. So who wants to jump on and collab? And so that day, I was able to make quite a few friends because lots of people put their hands up and were like, yeah, I'll join, I'll come around.
Yeah.
And because of that, that definitely allowed me to make like pretty firm connections that I still have to this day. Like, they've continued to be an active member of my community. We continue to collab and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that really opened up the space for me to be like, okay, maybe people do actually like me for my personality. And because of that, like, I would say that a good majority of my viewers are streamers as well. Which is something that I feel positive about, because I really do enjoy having the opportunity to work with other people. And even if they're not streamers, I do always ask, like, hey, would you guys like to come on at some point for this? Because it's important for me that my brand isn't just around me as a person. Like, I also want to be able to do as much as possible for the people around me. And like, I'm very... Like, I really, really like art, for example. I'm not the best at it. I'm trying my best to get better at it. But there are several artists in my community. And right now I'm hosting, like, a giveaway for them. Where I'm commissioning 10 of them to give away to my community. Because I think it's a great way for them to get, like, exposition as well as to just... give back to my community as well. So that's the sort of thing I personally like doing. Like, I want to make sure that everyone is as involved as possible, and that it's not just like you watching me because, like, it's not just about me. No, it's never been that way.
That's actually, pretty brilliant. I don't think I've heard anybody else do something like that, or say it to me anyway. That really does get the community involved, and it gives them kind of a stake in the matter too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope folks are listening and take note of that and steal it. Because but really that is a pretty brilliant way to get them involved, and it not only does it help them out, but it kind of builds a little brand loyalty too in the meantime. Sneaky little bit of advertisement you've just pulled there.
No, I wasn't advertising. But you are welcome to join if you want to.
A little bit of marketing there you got under the table there. It's pretty good. But really, it is great to see that you want to get involved in the community, and the community involved as well, and make it not just a one person show.
Yeah. Yep. That's for me. It's always been like, I know that I would have never been able to make it this far on my own. So it's really important to me that I'm always able to kind of give out what I receive as well. So
excellent. That's a tremendous attitude to have. Good on you for that. Absolutely. Now, what type of games are you playing when you're on stream?
So, oh my gosh, my streams are usually either late night streams where I tend to do more chill activities. So I try to do things like karaoke sometimes. I try to do things like we do a lot of just chatting because my viewers are awesome and I love them. But every so often I'll play things like, okay, so Overwatch is my favorite game.
Yeah,
but I know for a fact that
I have noticed that when I've watched the streams. Yes.
Oh, you come around?
I do. I sneak in every once in a while.
So embarrassing.
No, you shouldn't. I've enjoyed watching. I noticed the Overwatch is in there for sure. It is. Are there any games that you have where you kind of get the chat involved in them right now?
So I think towards the start, when I first started streaming, I had a heavy focus on party games, things like Jackbox, Gartic Phone, Scribble.io, stuff like that. Lately, it's more so a thing where I'm like in the server and I ask, hey guys, do any of you want to play this game, for example? Or if someone suggests, hey, I've been meaning to play this Roblox game, for example, I'm like, I'm happy to put together a group. Or if someone mentions they want to play Repo or Phasmo, I'm like, yeah, I can put together a group for that. Like, it's one of those things where if someone mentions it, I always want to make sure that they have like enough people for it.
Yeah.
And if I'm able to get involved, then that's really important to me as well.
Phasmophobia, huh? Yeah. So how do you stand on horror games? Do you stand under the table or do you sit and watch it? I would be under the table, but
Well,
what?
the thing is, right? I always thought that like I wouldn't be phased at all by games because I only started gaming like late last year. Like
Mhm.
I never actually gamed before this.
Yeah.
Um so I thought horror games are just like horror movies. It does not matter because in horror movies like I'm not phased at all.
Wow.
Jump scares get me a little bit, like they make me jump, obviously, but
Mhm.
like it's just because it's a fright, like it's
Yeah.
frightening.
Yeah.
And I'm a jumpy person. But in terms of like actually being scared and then that thought kind of being like pervasive later on, it doesn't really affect me. I after a horror movie, I rarely think about it again unless I really like it, like The Sixth Sense. But that's not really horror, anyways.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so different when you're playing a horror game because it's just so immersive and it's like, oh my god, the Freddy Fazbear is about to jump out at me and there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know that Poppy Playtime game. I see people playing that, and I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. I got asked to play the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria thing on
Uh-huh.
stream the other day, and that's probably like the first actual horror game I've played.
Yeah.
And I just could not handle it because I was like screaming at like 4 in the morning, and I was like, my mom's gonna come in at any second and yell at me to shut up.
Or
It was just a jump
somebody's
scare.
gonna call the police and have them show up. Someone is screaming at 4 o'clock in the morning. Somebody can help.
Yep.
It's but it's great that you've been able to kind of open up and this. I've heard some people say this: be more yourself online than you maybe that you were in person, had face to face with folks at first.
Yeah.
Has that carried over more into the mainstream life than you thought it would?
Yeah, I would say that in terms of like being able to actually showcase your personality the way that you want to
Hmm.
is something that people don't really have an opportunity to. I mean, first impressions are everything,
Right.
online or in person,
Yeah.
but especially in person, you can't really control what someone thinks when they first see you.
Mm.
But if someone's going to click on your Twitch link, the first thing they see is your profile. And from there, they already have a kind of idea of like what your brand is, what you're kind of aiming for, and then any sort of decisions they make about your personality is completely up to them.
Right.
But you can at least showcase that first like 10 seconds of this is who I am,
Right.
rather than being bound by maybe like stereotypes or like social expectations
Hmm.
based on appearance or I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like I've definitely been able to kind of be more confident in who I am by establishing who I want to be.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Because here you're establishing the boundaries now. This is
Mm,
this is
yeah.
your channel. If somebody comes in and tries to stomp through like a bull in a china shop, you can just hit the eject button and and they're
Yeah.
gone. They don't get to do that in your world. uh, and
Mm.
and how people perceive you is a lot more in your hands here than in just meeting
Mhm.
people out in public. Um, because I mean,
Yeah.
people are still going to take things the wrong way online. I know this from several dozen years of, of
Mhm.
being in radio and media in general. But um, it's you have a clean slate to work with here to start with,
Yeah.
and by putting up your avatar and your model and then kind of presenting the channel in a certain way, you're kind of setting somebody up to giving them a preview of what to expect.
Mhm.
But you're controlling that, which makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned karaoke.
Karaoke, yep.
Yes. So are we going to be hearing covers from you in the future?
Yes, actually, okay. So I'm working on a few things right now, for my debut at some point next year. The primary one being the visual novel that I'm kind of making.
Great.
But the other thing I want to do is to be able to release a song for that debut. So, I'm hoping that at some point I can maybe work with some music producers along the way to actually get to the point where I'm like, I feel like this person really helped me with like understand what I'm supposed to give them for like covers and stuff. Because I think one of the things that's really frightening about it is like, oh no, am I gonna send them the audio files wrong? Is it gonna like come out like super clunky and all of that? Like I don't want to make people's lives difficult. So I feel like I've got to learn how to do it first a few times before I even tackle like the actual production of a proper song. But I think covers are definitely something that I would like to do because it's they make me happy. I mean, I'm not confident in my voice. I don't think that I have the nicest voice to listen to. When I listen back on my pods and my clips, I'm like, oh, so cringe, never again. But people seem to enjoy my voice, so it's like I'll do it for you guys, not for myself.
Well, I tell you, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what industry, and even like I was in radio for about 3 times your time on Earth. Oh, actually, really about 35 years, and I still didn't want to listen to myself. I don't want to hear me, I want to hear somebody else talk. I know what I sound like, and I'm tired of it. But but to get that reaction from somebody else, and to sing with somebody else for somebody else, that can be a big mountain to climb over. And
definitely.
And are you now confident enough to I mean, you're confident enough to do a karaoke stream. That's more than I'll ever do. I'll tell you that. I don't want people to be bleeding out of the ears. But that takes some courage there. A pretty big step.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if their ears are bleeding, they have to stay anyways because they are chained to my Twitch chat. But no, I think I've never been confident in singing, but at the same time, like I've been doing it for a while. Like since I was little, I was always really interested in being able to sing. Not that I ever took any formal classes or anything, but I think that you can definitely teach yourself it. Like it's something that you can learn, and I think that everyone has potential.
Most everyone. I'll put in that caveat. I have lost all of mine. I lost it back in the 80s. Thank you very much.
It's never too late to pick up a skill.
once the voice changed, there was no notes left for me to sing. I'll tell you that. If I hit my knee just right, I might give you a note, but it won't be a very nice one. But it's great to hear. For one thing, you've got such a nice voice and a very what's the best word to use here? Unusual in a good way. The accent that you have compared to my non-accent is amazing to me. I don't know about anybody else, but it really is something to hear, and I really do want to hear you sing with that voice. I think it's going to be a great instrument. So.
I'm not really good at taking compliments, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, it's just it's really something to hear, and it's something that I've enjoyed really with these interviews is hearing so many people around the world with different reasons and different wants, and taking the opportunity to do so many different things. You talked about a visual novel that you're doing. Have you always been a writer?
I have, in fact, always been a writer. I started reading and writing at age 4,
Ooh.
and that kind of literature has always been my strong point when it comes to academics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd say over the past 2 years, I've definitely slowed down. I mean, I was reading religiously like over the course of like 7 years when I was younger. Like I would never stop. I always had a book in my hand and people would tell me to just like put the book down and actually like have dinner. Um, but it got to the point I think where I hit burnout once I started high school. I was just not as interested anymore.
Yeah.
I still have my favorite authors. I still have books that I love reading, but literature in high school and philosophy specifically
Mm-hmm.
were definitely my biggest creative outlets. And then moving on from high school, it was difficult to ever be able to channel that. So I think that the VTubing sphere has given me the opportunity to maybe learn to channel that creativity in different ways. And I'm hoping that this visual novel can kind of be like uh, like an amalgamation of everything that I've kind of dreamt of putting out into the world.
Mm.
Even though it's definitely a medium that I do not think I'll be good at because my writing in itself is very descriptive. It's a lot about metaphors and nuance. And with visual novels, in first person perspective, when you're locked to one character, it's very difficult to kind of showcase like the nuance outside of you, like outside of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be something that I'm going to struggle a lot with. But I'm hoping that this is a way to kind of give myself the opportunity to challenge myself creatively, learn something different, and yeah, like get those creative juices pumping. And I'm really excited to share
So,
a bit of my
any
story.
any hints on what the visual novel is about, or are you holding it to your vest?
It's supposed to be about my character's lore.
Mm.
But there are very clear, like certain scenes are. It's basically an allegory for like my BPD
Mm.
and my life
Mm-hmm.
with it. So there are very heavy references to my childhood and like growing up and kind of that sort of thing. But it's kind of framed as a cute little dating sim. So you don't exactly expect it, but then there are quite heavy topics and like yeah, it'll be a mature novel
Wow.
solely because of like the discussion of really heavy things.
Wow.
But
Well,
yeah, I'm hoping that people can enjoy it.
well, I think so. I mean, you talked about being in school and studying philosophy. Um,
Mm.
Not a lot of people do that through high school. I mean, a lot of us we're still trying to memorize sports statistics through through high school. What
Mm.
got you involved with that so early?
Sorry, could you repeat that? You cut out at the
I
end.
say, what got you involved with wanting to learn about that particular topic so early in life?
Philosophy?
Yeah.
Oh, so philosophy has been like my main interest since I was maybe like 11, 12. I
Mm.
went to one kind of class for it. Like it was a random one-off thing that my high school was holding where it let you try like the older subjects.
Wow.
And then that class in philosophy made me obsessed with it. I was like, I need this to be my life. Like, I need to do this. So, up until last year, my dream was to become a philosophy professor
Mm.
at a university. Uh, yeah, due to some circumstances, things kind of went haywire the past couple of years.
Mm.
um, so, I wasn't exactly able to completely finish high school.
Yeah.
And so as a result, I obviously wasn't able to like apply to university and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
But I do think that it's helped me come to terms with the fact that if I were to do philosophy as a full-time career, I would probably be miserable because you rarely read about philosophers that are like happy.
Mm.
I don't want to put it that way.
Uh,
But the more you think about like these things, the more you realize that there are no definitive answers for anything. And
Right.
like you can spend a whole life pursuing these answers and chasing and trying to come up with your best interpretation for it. But the reality of the matter is that people are going to disagree with you, and there's never going to be an objective answer to it. But I think that's what's beautiful about it as well, that you can come up with your own interpretations. But I realized that it's probably something that I want to make more personal to me. Like, I don't want to have to worry about writing the next big, like, philosophical movement for the next century. Like, I don't want to put so much pressure on myself that I'm constantly worried that, like, I'm not innovative enough or that my work isn't unique enough to stand out.
Yeah,
I think in this day and age, especially with like the rise of AI and everything,
right.
it's getting so much more difficult to make your place as like a writer or as any sort of creator. So I think from a more logical kind of point of view, I had to really make it clear that, to myself at least, that this wasn't something that was necessarily realistic for me to pursue.
But you still, I mean, I can tell from what you're talking about, it's still something that you enjoy, obviously. I mean,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I fully expect you to talk about Immanuel Kant sometime while we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
But really, it's, I don't meet a lot of people in life, and I've, over my entire life, which is quite long at this point, that has been into that in such a young age. That's very fascinating. That'll turn you inside out in a hurry, won't it? I mean, you tend to be. Were you very reflective as a young person?
Yeah, I think it's been difficult for a couple of my therapists, I think, because like obviously growing up with a personality disorder, it changes your views on a lot of things. But as I've gotten older and I've been able to be extremely like self-aware of what I'm doing, I'll speak to them sometimes and the reflection has already occurred. I understand why things are happening. I understand what I'm supposed to do and everything. So they don't really have anything to say to me. They're just like, wow, you really have it all figured out. It's like, I don't want it to come off that way, but
yeah. But does that help, or does that necessarily, is that necessarily a good thing sometimes when you're looking for an answer?
I would say it's definitely made it a lot more difficult to kind of be able to have like I don't know, clarity, because it's like you have all of the answers but never actually the solution. So it's like you just keep on chasing this idea of like, I could be better, I could be doing more, I know what I can do, but you can never quite reach it like quick enough or in a way that satisfies you. So yeah, it's something I've struggled with.
It's like you have
Sure.
you have the whys and the hows, but not how to fix it. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you're diagnosed with this, and this, but it's incurable. Thank you. Bye. And walk out the door.
Yeah.
But really, that is, it's. I'm really glad you're getting this opportunity, because you seem to be very nuanced and a lot of different things that you don't normally hear from folks. You've got a unique background. You're coming from a unique point of view in many different ways here, and with combining that with what you're wanting to do with your community and create it really is so positive. I don't know how anybody rooting against you would be like rooting against Bambi at this point.
No, I would not say that. I think BPD is, as a whole, a very stigmatized like disorder. It's got a lot of connotations behind it and a lot of negative kind of perception. And as a result, I think that when you tell someone that you have BPD, they immediately like have all of these, I guess, they come to all of these conclusions about you. So I'm trying my best to showcase my life in the most honest way. Like, I've always tried to be as genuine and as honest with people. Like, I don't try and sugarcoat things. Like, no, I'm well aware that I've done pretty bad stuff. Like, I've been not the nicest person throughout growing up. I was very arrogant, very self-absorbed, because I just didn't know how to communicate with other people my age. I was always like 10 years ahead in thinking, and I always felt like people were below me. So it's like being able to understand that, like, I can't survive without other people was something that really helped me grow, mature, and like be able to respect people. And then kind of understanding as well that I did have flaws and that I did have things that I needed to work on, that I wasn't perfect, is kind of what's given me the opportunity to truly learn how to be myself.
Yeah. And
because
I think that's a wonderful statement. And to me, I've always thought, and as I've gotten older and very much older and very even more older, I've come to realize, to me anyway, that it's not the perfection that makes the person. It's the wonderful flaws. Because if everybody was perfect, boy, would that be boring. I mean, you wouldn't get everything was perfect. There wouldn't be different tastes. There wouldn't be different talents. There wouldn't be different hairstyles. I mean, there wouldn't be different anything. Everything would be the same. It's that differences that we need to celebrate. And
definitely, yeah.
And it's those. It's the the little chips here and there, maybe a crack here and there. That's what defines the person, I think, and the personality. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it until people tell me to shut up, which will happen very soon, I imagine. Is that people they're not really the product of their environments, but they're the triumph that emerges from the environments. And they get, let's talk about your philosophy. Let's hear Nietzsche come up with that. It's you get to define your triumph, and it sounds like to me that you're doing the best you can to get that triumph out of what you've come through.
Yeah, I think growing up, I spent a lot of time thinking about like the future and the potential of failure. At some point, we did like a study on Albert Camus, and I love Albert Camus. Like, I love his work. I love absurdism as a whole.
Yes.
And that really helped me to kind of change my perspective on things, because it's like, pretty much, we are Sisyphus, just pushing the boulder up the hill. But it's like the journey of going up that hill, of like stopping sometimes to look at the flowers, to look at the sky, to watch the sunset. Like, these small things that we do along the way are what define our lives. Like, it doesn't always have to be about what's the most I can achieve, how can I maximize my time on earth. Like, it doesn't have to be about that. It's more so what makes you happy, what is going to make you be fulfilled or feel fulfilled at age like 80. Like, what is something that you want to tell the world? And I think that right now I'm learning to focus more on that sort of aspect of, I know that I'm not perfect, I know that I'm going to make mistakes, so I just want to have fun. Like, I just want to be able to actually experience things in a way that people might not approve of, because I know that I've like, there are people, when you tell them that you like VTubing and stuff, they'll give you a certain look and they'll be like, oh, like, but it's gonna be something that they don't understand, but I do. Like, it's something for me. It doesn't matter how they see it, because I'm doing it for myself at this point, and for the people who I know actually do enjoy it and who care about it. So I think being able to overcome that feeling of needing to do all the right things by everyone has helped me a lot in my development as a person. Well, I would say, at least.
I just want to thank you. for giving us an insight into that, because um, we're going to be better off for what you do and what you're doing here. I am better off for having talked with you here and having you on the show. I can tell you that. And I would really like to have you back on again once you get some of them bigger dreams of yours for this channel going, so we can promote it for everybody. We're going to have the links in the description for the video, and I hope that you check out what Vel's got to offer, because this person's got it set. That's it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Get on the train now. Vel, thank you so much for coming on. It's absolute pleasure talking with you and to meet you. And
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I wish absolutely nothing but the best for you here. And it just keeps rolling for you, because you deserve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.